Welcome back to the channel, and it's new bike day, yeah boys! And this is my new Santa Cruz Bullit. So let's do a bit of a bike check and also show you some first ride footage, including some drone footage from the Skydio2. So this is the Santa Cruz Bullit X01 build. This is the top of the range. It's a full carbon CC frame. It's a mullet. It's got 29 wheels on the front and 27.5 in the rear. In terms of its suspension, it's got the Fox 38 Grip 2 fork with 170mm, and in the rear it's got actually a RockShox Deluxe Ultimate, again 170mm, and you can also get this in the coil, the RockShox coil as well. This is obviously the air shock. The bike has the Santa Cruz Vpp Suspension Linkage, which is virtual pivot point, and this is tried and tested on all the Santa Cruz range of mountain bikes for many years. The stock X01 build also comes with a Fox factory dropper to match the Fox 38 fork. On my build, I've decided to upgrade to the RockShox Axis remote dropper with the controller there, and I'm finding this to be excellent as it gives me a bit more clearance than the Fox factory, and I believe that the Axis will be on the stock build for 2022. Yeah boy! The geometry on this Santa Cruz Bullit is absolutely spot on. And I've got to say, I think personally the mullet setup with this 29 in the front, 27.5 in the back is just about perfect. What an epic place to test this bike out. Woo. We're looking at 30mm carbon rims with DT Swiss hubs in front and rear. In terms of the brakes, we've got SRAM code RSC, and these are running with 220mm rotors in the front and 203 rotors on the back. The wheels are laced with Max's Assegai 29ers on the front and DHR2s on the back. The Assegais are 2.5 and the DHR2s are 2.4, and they're double down casings. And this combination of the Assegai and the Max's Minion, so far anyway in my riding of it, is excellent, offering incredible grip. Obviously if you want better rolling speeds, then you might want to swap out the Assegai on the front if you don't need that much grip. Oh, this is amazing. We're up at Heartbreak Ridge here in Ballater on an absolutely, well, perfect day in Scotland. It's fantastic. Whoa, this is chunky. Chunky. Yeah boys. Interestingly, the suspension on this bike, it's a Fox 38 on the front, 170mm, and a RockShox on the back and the shock, again 170mm. So interesting combo from Santa Cruz, not going for the one make front and back. Got to say, right out the box with very little adjustment. They're both working absolutely fine. Yo! Whoa, that's epic! The brakes on the bike are the SRAM Code RSC. It's got 220mm rotors in the front and 203 in the back. I'm finding these pretty decent, and I wouldn't go out and change them. So far anyway, they're doing their job well. Such an epic trail. Whoa. In terms of the drivetrain, this is a SRAM X01 12-speed. It's an Eagle, and obviously the shifters and the cassette. The cassette is a 10x52. Everything here, the chain, the cassette, the chain ring, everything is the SRAM Eagle setup. In terms of the geometry of the bike, well, this is a medium. The reach is 450. I'm about 5'8", and the reach is absolutely perfect for me. The geometry of this bike is perfect. The large is about 475mm reach, just for comparison. And they also do an XL and an XXL as well for sizing. Check out their website for all the different geometries. The head tube angle is 64 degrees. And the seat tube angle is 77 degrees. So what I've been finding is, in terms of climbing, it's absolutely fine. Does a good job. In terms of going downhill, well, this bike is really suited for sort of enduro trails and downhill gnarly trails. So let's talk about the E system of this Santa Cruz Bullit. So obviously it's a Shimano EP8 motor, and that's got 85 Newton meters of torque. Obviously that's an enhancement from the E8000 motor, which I owned both in the Merida and in the YT Decoy. How am I finding it? You definitely feel the improved torque levels. The main thing for me is the Shimano eTube app that allows much more customization than you had before. So you can really customize this to your riding profiles to get the best out of the motor and the battery. Obviously the motor is a bit lighter than the previous one, and it's well integrated. First shakedown ride on a bike out on this trail. Couldn't ask for better. So let's talk about the electronics of this. I mean, this is a Shimano EP8, the new Shimano EP8. They've upped the torque to 85 Newton meters. The screen's pretty much the same as the old E8000. Pretty intuitive, very clear. Probably one of the best small screens out there. The control system on the left hand side is really discreet and easy to use, and it's just got its eco trail and boost settings. It's all good. It's also got a revised walk assist that I think actually works this time. I had the E8000 motor before, and the walk assist was rubbish. This one actually does work, which is a bonus. But for most of the time, in really steep stuff, I'll be trying to climb it and boost. So what's powering this? It's a Shimano 630 watt integrated battery in the down tube, and you can actually remove that with a 4mm Allen key right here. So you loosen that and the thing will pop out, and that's quite easy to do, and that means you can actually charge the battery out of the bike at home, or obviously you can charge the battery on the bike. In terms of charging the battery on the bike, you just click this open and there's a wee charging point there. Just clip it back in again. In terms of powering it up, the power button's actually here, pretty close to the motor. So you just basically press the button and it powers the system up. Simple as that. In terms of how you control the different modes, it's an E7000 switch on the bike. It's been slightly updated from the previous model in terms of ergonomics, and obviously you've got your different mode switches here, and that then clicks it on here in the screen. If you can see it from the sunshine, I'll go in there and you can see it, and obviously you've basically got off, eco, trail and boost. Simples really. This is an updated screen from the last one. It looks very similar to the previous screen. The software's been updated a little bit, and it's the usual Shimano stuff. It gives you loads of different information on it if you want it. The power is given with a 630 watt Shimano battery integrated, and I'm not sure about the lifespan of the battery yet, so I'll let you know towards the end of the video what I thought of that. So the overall weight of this bike in the medium is around 22 kilograms, so pretty decent in terms of, you know, full fat e-bikes. And it comes in two colours. It comes in this bronze colour, which is a bit dull in the shadows, but in the sunlight that it really does sparkle. So it's got this metallic-y, bronzy colour on it. So if you like your bike's a wee bit understated in colour, this is the one for you. And the other one is a lavender colour. It's got a bit more sort of colour pop if you like. The WTB titanium saddle and the Santa Cruz Di2 carbon 22mm rise bar, which allows the switcher cables to be routed in the bar for neater integration to the display. This completes the build. So let's talk about cost. So yep, this bike is expensive. The X01 build, top spec, it currently is £10,499 in the UK. You also get it in an XT version at £8,699, an S version in £8,199, and an R version in £6,899, although the R version currently changes the type of motor that you've got. Oh, techie! Here we go! Oh, where am I going? Oh, epic. I'm not 100% sure I should be just getting these brakes in on this particular trail, but I thought what an opportunity. So it's quite interesting. Bedding the brakes in on this trail. I'm beginning to get a bit of bite now in the brakes. Thank God. Yeah, boy. So in summary, I am really enjoying this bike. The geometry is absolutely perfect on me personally. It's got great components, a great carbon frame, and Santa Cruz offer a lifetime warranty on the frame and the bearings and these carbon wheels that come in the X01 build. It's a great spec. It's a very gravity focused bike. It's fast, it's fun, there's loads of grip from these tyres, and there's some great integration. So from my perspective, what are the negatives of this bike that I've seen so far? So the first thing to say would be the rattle. So undoubtedly there is a rattle inside this EP8, and that rattle comes when you disengage the pedals. So when you disengage pedalling and you're into this freewheeling, you'll hear the thing rattling as it disengages. Engage the pedals and it goes away. Now the extent to which this rattle will annoy you really depends on your sensitivity. Some people will hear it but it won't bother them at all. Some people will barely hear it because they're concentrating on other things. It just switches off out of their head. And some people will be super sensitive to this, and it'll probably bug them. So if you're in the super sensitive category and you're OCD about bike noise, maybe not the EP8 at the moment until they sort that out. Oh, folks have commented and said that there's a rattle coming off the EP8, and yeah, I can hear it when you freewheel down, when you don't pedal. You can definitely hear it rattling, although to be honest it doesn't bother me. The rest of the bike is pretty silent. So genuinely the only other thing that I would have any concerns about this bike is the battery range. So I've had two bikes with the E8000 system, and when I got this I thought, well, new EP8 motor and 630 watt battery, I am going to get more range. And when I had the YT decoy that had a 540 watt battery with the battery was actually a YT custom battery, and what I'm actually finding is the 630 watt Shimano battery is only giving me a bit more than the 540 watt YT custom battery. Now I'm sure there's a whole load of you out there that understands why that is. It might be the type of cells they're using, it might be the software, it might be a whole range of combination of things. I don't know. I'm not a scientist or an electrical engineer or whatever, but what I can tell you as an owner is that it's not giving me as much range as I thought it would do. Now you can play about with the custom settings inside the eTube app, and that does help you extend the range. You can also change these tyres, and that will also help you with the range. Now you could also buy a second battery, and that obviously then you wouldn't have any range anxiety whatsoever, but I think they're about £700, and I think their availability at the moment probably across the world is extremely limited. Oh yeah. I think Santa Cruz have really nailed it with this bike. You know, really their second outing on it from the Heckler. This bike is absolutely epic. Wow, this is going to test the brakes. Yeah, boy. Yes, cleaned it. So there you go, that's my bike review of the Santa Cruz Bullit. All the positives and some of the early negatives. Interestingly, I was reflecting on the negatives and none of it is really to do with the actual bike itself. The bike, the frame, the components, the geometry are excellent. I could not fault virtually anything on this. The main things for me are around that rattle on the EP8 motor and how much range I can get out of that 630 watt battery. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Have fun in the trails, whatever e-bike you're riding. And a big shout out to Highland Cycles here in Ballater for setting me up with the bike, and especially Dan the mechanic over there fixing it up, and Richard who's in the shop. So if you're ever looking for a Santa Cruz or you're up this way looking for a demo or a new bike, check these guys out. They are epic.